Let's talk about cybersecurity controls. So, in the previous session, we discussed defense in depth, um, and in this lesson, we will be discussing cybersecurity controls and why they are important. Again, in the previous session, we touched a little bit on different the controls that we might put in it, different layers of cybersecurity. But in this one, let's focus more on the controls themselves. So, of course, cybersecurity controls are important. We'll be discussing that. We'll also be discussing the definition of security controls, and we'll also talk about the three main categories of controls, which is administrative, physical, and technical. So, a cybersecurity control is basically just um, a mechanism or a technique or anything really that we do to protect the organization from certain types of attacks, to protect um, our different layers from cyber attacks. So, when it comes to administrative controls, um, these are kind of like policies and procedures that an organization puts in place to kind of regulate its own employees, its contractors, and third party vendors. So, administrative controls can only be placed on the organization itself and components that are in its direct control. This contains things like security awareness trainings, access controls, incident response plans, risk assessment, and risk management in general. When it comes to physical controls, these are like physical barriers or physical things that protects system and data from unauthorized access. Yes, it protects data because access to particular areas within an organization could grant you access to data at the end of the day. So we would want to have, locks on our doors and our cabinets, um, security cameras, biometric scanners, and we want to make sure that access is properly controlled and you only get access to an area of the building that you really should be accessing. So technical controls, sometimes they call it logical controls. They use technology to protect systems, data, and networks from cyber attacks. So we have things like our firewalls, our intrusion and detection systems, our antivirus, and data encryption. As you can see, like there's a blend of like different layers of defense in depth in different types of controls. Um, when it comes to technical controls, we also um, have three different groups. We have preventive controls, we have detective controls, and then we have corrective controls. So preventive controls would be something like your intrusion prevention system. It will actually like when something is, it wouldn't just detect something, it would actually take action to prevent something from happening. We also have things like our antivirus software to prevent a virus from executing on the system. We have detective controls that are purely for detection and alerting purposes. So you would want to be alerted if something is going on so you can go and investigate. When it comes to corrective controls, these are controls that we use to respond or to correct when something has already gone wrong. And you can't focus only on prevention because, well, what happens when prevention doesn't work? Are you able to properly detect? You can't focus only on detection. So what happens when you detect? You have to correct. Um, and cybersecurity controls are super important because, um, of course, we all know that cyber attacks can result in damages, financial and reputational. And without these controls, both the individuals and the businesses face risks, um, identity theft, financial loss, and implementing controls, if done properly, can significantly reduce the risk and the impact of cyber attacks. So, just to conclude, we have gained a better understanding of security controls, and we know that it is essential for safeguarding our assets. We also have learned that proper implementation of controls reduces how vulnerable we are to cyber threats, which also reduces the risk of an incident happening. Thank you, and we'll meet in the next session.